Welcome to my blue terminal on my domain controller of the domain foreach.software. I'm going to create some organizational units, but I want to check if this organizational unit already exists, because if it's already exists, we're getting an error. And I'm going to use the .NET framework to check this, so we avoid these errors. First, I'm gonna create this error, so you see which error I mean. Let's start by getting a list of all my organizational units with the Get-ADOrganizationalUnit commandlet. And we filter nothing, we filter with a star, an asterisk, so we get the full list of all my organizational units. I only have two. Let's make a nice table of these organizational units. I pipe it through format table. This information I pipe through the format table command, and I select the name, this one, the name, and the distinguished name. Let I copy this one into my memory. So I want the name and the distinguished name. Let's run it and we get a nice table. You see, we have only a list with two columns, the column name and the column distinguished name. And we have a domain controller unit and a Utrecht unit. I'm going to create this unit again. So let's try it. We first create a settingsOU variable that contains an object with all the parameters. The first parameter is the name of the organizational unit, that's Utrecht, and the second parameter is the path, and there we use the root of the domain. Let's copy this from the path. So this is the root of the domain, the path where we're gonna create this organizational unit Utrecht, and if we do so, we get a new distinguished name for the whole organizational unit. Now we can use the New-ADOrganizationalUnit commandlet to spread the settingsOU variable. So we're going to spread these parameters behind this commandlet, and then it will trying to create it. Now let's run it, and we get a message. An attempt was made to add an object to the directory with a name that already is in use. So it exists, and this is the error I'm trying to avoid, and therefore I'm going to use the .NET framework. I think the .NET framework is great. You can use it in a lot of languages made by Microsoft. So if you use C# or C++, you can use the .NET framework, the same .NET framework, to excel your programming skills. How do you use the .NET framework? Now you can use it by using the square brackets. Within the square brackets, you add the module you want to use, and the module I'm wanting to use is the adsi, and the adsi model you can use to manage the Active Directory objects. When I do a double column, you see that I get all the functions or methods, how you want to call it, you can use of the .NET framework, and I want to use the exists. You need to know that the Active Directory is a LDAP. You write it like this: a lightweight directory access protocol. It's a database method for storing all the users and all the groups and all the other Active Directory objects into a structure. That's a database, an LDAP database. And you can manage this database with the adsi object from the .NET framework. And we're going to look if it exists, and we have to pass in a path, and the path I'm going to copy from our list. So let's copy this one. This is the path of the object within the Active Directory, and you see that's the distinguished name. That's how the Active Directory works. Let's look what kind of answer we get. So if we run this, we get a nice error, and this error I had before. Did I make a mistake? For each software LDAP exists? I think I made a mistake with the double column here. You only need one double column. These are a double column, two double columns. So let's check again. Now, if we run this method, the exist method, on distinguished name from the Active Directory, we get the answer that it's true. You can Google this this method of the adsi, so you get more information about it. I don't know it by heart. I just Googled it myself, but it's the way why you can use the distinguished name to look if an organization unit exists in the database. Now, what we can do, we can put it in an if statement. So if it's true, and it is, if it's true, then we want to do nothing. Let's write this. Else we want to create it. So let's make an if else statement. And first I put in write output. And let's put in OU already exists. And on the other hand, I copy it in. If the answer is false, creating the OU. So then we're going to create this. Let's run it again. And you see, when I run it, OU already exists is the answer. This is the code. This is not output, this is the code, and this is the answer. OU already exists. Now, this message is good. We don't need to edit it, but we need to create this OU if it doesn't exist. Now we can use the New-ADOrganizationalUnit command. New-ADOrganizationalUnit. We take a name. Let's make this name a little bit better to read. Call it nameOU is Utrecht. So this code will be better reusable. Then we can replace it with here in this name. So Utrecht will be on this place. Then you need some double quotes here, otherwise it doesn't work. And we put it behind the name. And then we want to put in a path, and the path is this one. Now let's put in domain distinguished name. That's the root of the domain. It's writing like this. I can also put it in here. When I change the domain, I don't have to change it twice. And I put it in the path. So I made some nice variables to reuse the code. So if I want to change something, I don't have to change anything from this code. I only change it here. Let's run it again, and you see it already exists. Now I'm trying to create some unit that doesn't exist. So Amsterdam, that doesn't exist. Let's run it again, and you see creating the OU. Now let's check if it exists, and you see we have a nice OU of Amsterdam with the new distinguished name. And let's try it again. If we see, we get an error. OU already exists. Now that's a nice way of checking if a organization already exists with the .NET framework, and a nice example of how you use the .NET framework within PowerShell. You can use lots of thousands of functions from the .NET framework into PowerShell, and that makes PowerShell very powerful. I would like to thank you for watching and see you in the next time.